This is my closet in my childhood bedroom. So I was thinking we could do a little book tour of like all of my kind of YA favorites. They are color organized, pretty much, I would say, because I was that bitch when I was in high school. I still am that bitch, obviously. But yeah, so I thought we could go through them, talk about some favorites, pull some things off the shelf, you know. I don't know how it's gonna work, but I think it's worth a shot. So I was thinking we can go from left to right. So the first book that we have over here is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I had to read this book for 6th grade, and it was a really good book. It was a really good book to read at that age as well. I feel like it had a resurgence kind of recently, which was surprising to me because I read it, you know, in 2000 something, a while ago. The next book is Emil and Carl, which is, I'm gonna turn the microphone, hold the phone. There we go. It's Emil and Carl, which I don't know if I ever read the whole thing, but it is a Holocaust story about two friends. And what I remember is one of them is Italian, and Emil and Carl become best friends, and he says they're amici del cuore, and I know that I'm probably not saying that right, but like friends of the heart, and like those are your closest friends. And whenever I think of my close friends, you know, I'll say like my amici del cuore, you know, my friends of the heart. So yeah. Then I have 1984, which I had to read for high school. Good book. I feel like a classic kind of high school read. Dystopian future, surveillance state, you know, all those good things. Then we have The Tale of Despero. This is a fantastic book. This is by Kate DiCamillo, who also wrote Because of Winn-Dixie. And this book is about Despero, who is a little mouse. And this book is so nostalgic for me. There's also some illustrations. It's a pretty kind of one of the like first novels that I read, I'm pretty sure, and I ate it up. I'm sure. I love the way that Kate DiCamillo writes. Obviously I have not read this since I was in 5th grade or so, but it's one of my favorite books. It always will be. And then we have I Am the Messenger, which is the next book by Marcus Zusak. I think this one was made for a little bit older readers, but it I think came out in like 2005 or something. And it's somehow related to The Book Thief, but it's not a pure sequel, I think. I'm not entirely sure. Then I have Mouse 1 and Mouse 2, which is another Holocaust story, but it is written in a graphic novel form. They're really good. I read them for school, but like would suggest them kind of across the board. They're both really good. Yeah. Then I have Undress Me in the Temple of Heaven by Susan Jane Gilman, which I haven't read. I think it's a true story. My friend's mom gave it to me when I was traveling in Asia in college, but the story is about how like a girl, I think she gets like abducted, or like she gets like yeah, I don't really know. She travels abroad in Asia, and then like something bad happens to her, and I was like, why are you giving me this book if it's like about a girl traveling in Asia alone, and then bad things happen to her? Like, anyway. Then I have Sister Jin by June Arnold, which I have not read. I think my grandma gave it to me. Then I have Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury, one. I read it in high school. Not much more to say about it. Then I have this book that my friend got me because she works at a bookstore, or she used to work at a bookstore, and so she would get like early release copies of books. This book is called Siri, Who Am I? It was fun. It was like a really light read, and it was funny. I enjoyed it. It's about this girl. I can tell you what it's about. It's about this girl who wakes up and she doesn't know who she is, and she has a phone, and she wakes up like in a cocktail dress in LA and has to figure out who she is and like what happened to her and like why she doesn't remember who she is. It's fantastic. Now that I'm remembering it, it's actually really funny. Then I have The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd, which I don't remember if I read the whole thing of, but I think it was a good book. Then I have Safi's Angel, and this was a great book. This is a book I read in elementary school. And so this is about a family, the Casson family, and their mother is a fine arts painter, and so all the kids are named after colors. And so there's cadmium, caddy, saffron, saffy, indigo, and rose. And the story is about the four of them and something that happens to their family. And then there are multiple books in the series. There's Savi's Angel, indigo blue, I think. Caddy's Dream, maybe. Anyway, it's by Hilary McKay. It's a great, like, young readers chapter book. Then I have Ingalls Wilder, On the Banks of Plum Creek. I read these. I didn't read all of them, but I read a lot of them with my mom when I was a kid. And these are so nostalgic. These are my mom's this is my mom's copy. She used to have, I think she might still have a box set of all of them. And so this is On the Banks of Plum Creek, which I believe is the second book. No, maybe the third. The fourth. There's Little House on the Prairie, Little House in the Big Woods. Maybe this is the third. Whatever. I was obsessed with Ingalls Wilder as a child. Now I think I have different opinions about a lot of things. I mean, I think one of the other books I have, on my shelf, is called The Wilder Life, and we'll talk about it. But it's about, since Ingalls Wilder was a real person, kind of it talks about more like the nuances of her life that were kind of omitted from the books. Some pretty like sad and shitty things that happened to her. I also think the portrayal of indigenous people, of Native Americans in these books, heinous, horrible, super racist. So I feel very nostalgic reading them because I read them with my mom. It was like special for me, but I think looking back and thinking about them now, it's complicated, but these books are so nostalgic for me. These drawings. Then I have The Help. Speaking of racist books, got The Help by Catherine Stockett. And then I have Stuart Little by E.B. White. And this is either my mom's or my dad's copy from when they were kids. So it's super beat. And I don't know if I ever read this. I think it just is on my shelf. But again, it has these wonderful illustrations. Oh, and there's something in it. Oh, what's in it? Oh my god. There's drawings. Oh, I bet this is my mom's. So this says, my mom's name is Laurel. This says, the great girl Laurel, here is a present, I love you. And there's a little lion, and it says Christmas. I bet this was my mom's book. Oh my god, I'll have to show her that when she gets home. So cute. Then I The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I think Emma Roberts was in it. Love you, Emma Roberts. Next we have The Green Glass Sea, which is one of my favorite early books. The cover's off of it. I don't know, I guess I just wasn't into the dust jacket. Oh, let me turn my mic. This book is fantastic, and it's about this girl who, her dad works at the place in the Southwest where they're testing and, like, creating the atomic bomb, and it's about her life there, and I don't actually remember all that happens, but, at some point the atomic bomb gets tested, but she doesn't know what is happening or why they're there, because it's a big secret, and so she's kind of like living on an army base with her dad, who she's confused why he's there because he's a scientist, he's not like a military person, and so she like lives there and has her experiences living there, and then I think ultimately they all find out because they blow up an atomic bomb really close to where she lives. Then I have this book by Edward O. Wilson called Letters to a Young Scientist, which I honestly have never read. I think I got this for my high school graduation. Oh, I thought there was an inscription. Maybe there isn't. But anyway, I think I got this for my high school graduation. Great book. Then I have Selected Essays, Lectures, and Poems by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And I'm trying to... there's an angsty teen note in here from myself. I don't think I'm gonna read it, but... I thought it was an angsty poem. It's not. It's the lyrics to Breathe 2 a.m. by Anna Nalick, because I was learning it for a singing performance that I was in, and I was trying to remember the lyrics, so I wrote them down on a note card. So smart. And then on the back, oh my gosh, I have my to-do list, which said back for the game, which I did. I crossed it out. Finish ecosystem worksheet. Crossed it out. Did it. Also on top of my shit in high school. Finish American Scholar. Not crossed out, so who knows if I ever finish that. And then math homework from the weekend. Okay, I just opened. I was like, what the fuck was the American Scholar? It was this where the note card was. So like odds that I actually finished the American Scholar. Low. So because I was trying to remember what I read. Oh my gosh, I annotated it. Oh, we love. I've never, honestly, since high school, I've never annotated a book, but high school me was honor shit. This is an essay called Self-Reliance. I underlined the line, to believe your own thought, to believe that what is true for you in your private heart is true for all men. That is genius. A man should learn to detect and watch that gleam of light which flashes across his mind from within, more than the luster of the firmament of bards and sages. Okay. Okay. Wow, this is funny to me. Because I wrote at the top of the page, do your own fucking thing. And then in the margin I wrote, I heard Jake Ryan. I do not know who Jake Ryan is now. I don't know at all who that is. I didn't go to high school with Jake Ryan. And then here I put a star, and then I wrote, shit. Must have been really taken by this part. Man is timid and apologetic. He is no longer upright. He dares not say, I think I am, but quotes some sage or saint. He is ashamed before the blade of grass or the blowing rose. These roses under my window make no reference to former roses, or to better ones. They are for what they are. They exist with God today. There is no time to them. They are simply the rose. It is perfect in every moment of its existence. Before a leaf bud is burst, its whole life acts. In the full-blown flower there is no more. In the leafless root there is no less. Its nature is satisfied, and it satisfies nature in all moments alike. But man postpones or remembers. He does not live in the present, but with reverted eye laments past or heedless of the riches that surround him, stands tiptoe to foresee the future. He cannot be happy and strong until he too lives with nature in the present, above time. Damn. Shit. Still hits different. Anyway, interesting. So apparently I did read this. I read it in, I think, in 10th grade English. Then I have The Princess Bride. I've never read The Princess Bride. I don't know. I watched the movie. I liked it okay. Then I have The Secret Garden. Oh, I loved The Secret Garden when I was a kid. This was such a beautiful addition to, this is beautiful, like, there's a word for that page. I don't know what it is. So it has these really, like, thick pages. And then I think in the middle, is it? Maybe not. I thought it had some color illustrations in the middle of it. I think that's my mom's copy of The Secret Garden. Oh no. Oh, this book smells good. This is like an essential childhood book of mine. And then we have another one. This is, I think, my dad's copy of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, edited by me because I put a Barbie sticker on the front, like a dumb bitch. Anyway, this is by Roald Dahl. The front cover is mostly faded. That's incredible. Wow, this is a really old book. This was from a library because you can see, oh my gosh, there's all these illustrations. And then we have All Creatures Great and Small, which I started when I was in high school, but I never finished it. My aunt gave it to me. This first book I have is Peak by Roland Smith. This book is about a kid who summits Mount Everest or K2. I think his long lost father shows up, and it's like, let's climb Mount Everest together. And then it turns out ultimately that his father is trying to get him to do it for like ulterior motives. Yeah, it's a good book, I think. The next book is Hattie Big Sky, which I know I read as a teenager, and I think is like, again, one of those like books that's pretty racist towards Native Americans. It's like one of those like pilgrim books. The next book, oh my god, is a book that's by Astrid Lindgren, who wrote Pippi Longstocking. And this book is called The Six Polar Bear Children. This was one of my dad's books, I'm pretty sure, as a kid. And so this is a lovely book. I think it's told from the perspective of this little girl, Lisa. And they live on 3 farms. And there's the Bullaby children, and she has brothers. And the one I remember most is her birthday. And I loved this book so much, The Six Bullaby Children. And it's Swedish. It's Swedish. And it was translated into English, and that's why my dad has it. This next book that I've never read, but I've heard about it, is called The Wilder Life, and it says My Adventure in the Lost World of Little House on the Prairie by Wendy McClure. And so she basically writes this book about being obsessed with Little House on the Prairie as a kid, which, like, same. And, like, same for my mom and, like, lots of women. I feel like, to give you perspective on how into Little House on the Prairie I used to go to Ingalls Wilder camp over the summer when I was, like, 8 or 9 years old. And we didn't use the electricity, and we had to wear, like, Little House on the Prairie dresses, and we did, like, crafts and sewed, and would, like, wear our Little House on the Prairie dresses and, like, go down to the river. Now that I'm saying this out loud, it sounds absolutely bonkers, but we would, like, go down to the river and, like, swim in the river in like our Laura Ingalls Wilder dresses, and we would churn butter and we would make popcorn, and what was the time? Okay, the next book is by John Krakauer, and it's Into Thin Air, and I haven't read this book, so I can't really speak to it, but it's also about Mount Everest. The next book is The Art of Racing in the Rain, which I also haven't read, but I think it's about dogs. The next book I have read, and it is The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. I really liked this book, as I recall. This was such a cool story. Philip Pullman really got it on this one. The next book is The Illustrated Man by Ray Bradbury. I also read this for school. As you can see, there's my name. Yeah, this book was pretty fucked, but also really good. I mean, I read it in like 7th grade or 8th grade. The next book, is Island of the Blue Dolphins, which I loved as a kid. So I don't really know. You know, speaking of books that like are kind of racist, I don't really know Scott Odell's story because he wrote Island of the Blue Dolphins, and he wrote a couple other ones about like Native American or like indigenous women, young women, and like coming of age stories. And I don't know like his connection to indigenous peoples or like what the story was, but I remember really loving this book as a kid. The next book is called The Highest Tide by Jim Lynch. My mom read it to me. It was really good. Oh, the next book, this is another one in the series of Savvy's Angel. This is Indigo Blue. Indigo Blue. Apparently, I took the dust jacket off this one. But Indigo Blue. Then I have the #1 Ladies Detective Agency, which I've never read. Then I have To Kill a Mockingbird, which I read for school. A classic novel. Then I also have White Tiger by Aravind Adika, and I read that for school as well. Then I have Dizzy by Kathy Cassidy. Oh, on the inside page, I wrote my name and the date and my home phone number, which doesn't exist anymore, but I'm still gonna cover it because, like, I don't know. But I wrote Kaya Star and then the date, which was October 20th, 2005, which I guess is the day that I got this book. Anyway, this book is by Kathy Cassidy. I remember loving this book. It was about this girl named Dizzy. And I got this book from a bookstore that used to exist. It doesn't anymore, but that my godmother's husband owns, or owned at the time. And this bookstore was also the bookstore in 10 Things I Hate About You. Alright, the next book is Uglies by Scott Westerfield. This whole series, like, if you didn't read it, I don't know what you were doing. This series absolutely slaps. It was about this girl named Tally, and she lived in this world where when you were like prepubescent, you were an ugly, and then you like went through surgery when you like turned like 16 or something, and you became a pretty, and but they like took your brain, and so you became like pretty and vapid, and so she like has like, I think she's always wanted this, and you like live in a high-tech paradise where your only job is to have a really good time. In just a few weeks, Tally will be there, but then she has a friend who isn't sure if she wants to be pretty and like doesn't want to be hot and Such a good book. Then I have this book that's called Why We Broke Up. And this book is all, I'm pretty sure, or much of it, oh, maybe I'm wrong. I thought this book was all in pictures, but it's not. But this is like a YA novel. I think it was pretty good, but I don't really remember it, to be honest. It's got some like really beautiful illustrations. Then I have behind me, actually I'm just gonna scooch over so you can see. So then I have Sabriel by Garth Nix, which was a fantasy book that I don't know that I ever read, but I wanted to read. It was about this girl that was like a badass. Classic YA fantasy. Then we have Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, which my aunt gave me, this nice copy. Then we have a great book. Oh my gosh, here are all the Scott Westerfield books. Okay, we'll talk more about Scott Westerfield in a second. Then we have this book. Oh my god. I also wrote, is this a thing that I did in like 2005? This book belongs to Kaya. Please call when finished. And then I have my phone number. This book is called Kiki Strike Inside the Shadow City. And this book was so cool. It was about this girl who lived, I think, in New York. And she found this like underground crime ring and like becomes part of it. And it's such a dope book. So this is these two books. Let me see if I have pretties as well. It might be on my bottom shelf. Let's see, I wasn't planning on doing the bottom shelf. I guess I don't have the book pretties. So, these are the next two books. So this is Specials by Scott Westerfield. And then this is Extras by Scott Westerfield. So I think it turns out, this is like, I think it's very akin to The Hunger Games, where like, you're ugly and then you like turn, not like the Hunger Games, it's not really like the Hunger Games, but you aren't ugly and then you like turn pretty and you like become this kind of like mindless socialite and like that's your life. But then there's like specials who are trying to like keep everyone in line, and they're like the thought police, they're like, you know, the agents of the state, and they're like have special powers, and so it turns out that Tally, the main character, becomes a pretty, and then she becomes a special, but then she meets like the extras, and these are the people who've like decided not to participate in the system, and they're like revolting against the system, I'm pretty sure, and so it's like that kind of story, like very similar. Let's see, I'm gonna just like skim the bottom shelf since you can't really see it. Let's see, oh, so many good books. Another Scott Odell book, Black Star by Dawn. Then I have The Color Purple, Slaughterhouse 5, Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. The Plain Janes, actually this is a fantastic book. This is a graphic novel. If you have like a 6th or 7th grader in your life and you need to get a book for them, this one is so cool. It's about these girls who like basically do guerrilla art, and they like, one of them I'm pretty sure was like had a traumatic experience in her life, and then they like this group of 4 I think create this girl group called Plain Janes, and they do guerrilla art to kind of help her heal from the trauma that she experienced. Then I have The Kite Runner, which is like the first book that I ever read. I think I read it in high school, that just like really fucked me up. And then, oh, I have this great book called Going Bovine by Liva Bray. And it's about this teenager who basically gets mad cow disease and like his experience. And when I say that out loud right now, it sounds like it would be really dark and heavy. And I just remember it being really like fun and like told in this really creative way where you're kind of like existing in his brain and experiencing what he experiences. Anyway, it's a really interesting book. So, yeah. And then the last book that I have that I want to show you is called Crisscross by books now, so maybe I should read it again. So it has the spectrum of connectedness. 0%, no one is here, no one. People move back and forth in this area like molecules in steam. 100%, no one is here, no one. I don't remember at all what this book is about. But I remember being funny. The girl in it, I'm pretty sure, lived in a house that was made of this substance that she called insel brick, like insulated brick, and it was fake. It was like, whatever. And so she called herself Debbie of Insel Brick. Like, she thought it sounded like a palace, like that you might live there. Like, so that's a tour of my childhood bookshelf. I hope you enjoyed. Super bizarre kind of video, but really fun overall. Also really nostalgic for me to go through my books. I truly love nostalgia. Like, I love going through old clothes, old books, old music, all that kind of stuff.